Hey guys, welcome back to Election Center, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys what I think are the best case scenarios for Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So basically the best results that I think each of them could get respectively. This is not going to be like my widest possible margins video, where I basically just did for Trump and Biden the widest at all feasible electoral margins possible, and both of those scenarios were virtually impossible. Didn't make any sense in terms of something that could actually happen. But this is going to be legitimately the best results that I think Joe Biden and Donald Trump, respectively, can hope to get on election day, which is just a few days away now. So let's just start off here with Joe Biden. He's the front runner, the Democratic challenger to incumbent Republican Donald Trump. And in Joe Biden's best case scenario, I think he's going to carry all these states that I'm filling in right now by more than 15%. Maine here, which was a competitive sort of battleground in 2016 in terms of the margin, it was less than 4% or less than 3% statewide. Joe Biden, I think he can crack 15% in terms of his margin here if things go well for him. Considering this state has shifted sort of abruptly to the left, it seems, this election cycle. And this first district he can obviously carry safe, and I think there's a chance he could, by a tilt margin, carry this second district, because it voted pretty substantially Democratic in 2012, and then it was a huge shift in 2016 where it voted heavily Republican. But I think that maybe Joe Biden could flip some of those Obama-Trump voters, and, with the high number of seniors in Maine, which have switched from Republican to Democrat in 2020 in terms of who they favor overall, and, just with his better favorability ratings in contrast to Hillary Clinton, I think he can hope to win the district barely in his best case scenario. And then New Hampshire, likely, is, I think, his best case scenario here. Virginia, I think he could definitely crack that safe margin of 15%. The state getting more and more out of Republicans' reach. New Mexico, certainly. Maybe Colorado. But I think that in a best case scenario for Joe Biden, he could at most get to like 14% in the margin. 15 seems a bit excessive to me. Just seems a little too far. But I definitely think he could carry Nevada by more than 5, maybe even close to safe, approaching that level, but not quite. But yeah, he could definitely carry Nevada by, 8 points, 8%. And then Arizona, I think he could just scratch that 5-point margin if he gets lucky. Donald Trump wasn't even able to carry this by 4 in 2016. So if Joe Biden's outperforming by a number of points, actually, I think his best case is lean. I just don't see him quite cracking that 5% margin. But I could definitely see him carrying Arizona by maybe 4%. And then moving on here, I definitely think he could carry the second district in Nebraska by likely. Illinois, should have filled that in earlier as safe. Let's fill in some states, though, that I think will still go safe to Donald Trump. All these states here that I'm filling in, I think this first district will go likely for Trump in Biden's best case. But, yeah, going back to these states that I think will go safe, even in a great night for Joe Biden. Mississippi, that's going to be likely. But, yeah. Let's go to let's just fill in these remaining states as we go now. South Carolina, I think, could get a bit competitive. Maybe, a 6-point margin at best for Joe Biden. Alaska could get competitive, but still more than 5. Kansas could get a bit below 15, maybe into that likely range. Montana could go likely. Missouri, these states I'm filling in now. Oklahoma's just going to go safe no matter what for Trump, though. Texas, I think at best, Biden could hope to get a tilt margin, or tilt for Trump. I think in Biden's best case, this would still be tilt for Trump. Donald Trump winning it by 9 points in 2016. If you sort of assume maybe Biden's going to outperform by a number of points, outperform Clinton, and then, you have the state's leftward trend, I still don't see Joe Biden overcoming that 9-point deficit. I just don't see that happening. But, yeah, he could get it down to a pretty thin margin. And then Georgia, I think at best he could maybe hope for a lean, but I'm just going to say tilt right now. Donald Trump only won the state by 5 points in 2016, and I just made a video on why I actually think the state of Georgia is going to go blue and vote for Joe Biden in 2020 narrowly, just by a tilt margin. But yeah, you know, I am pretty shaky on it, so I'm not 100% sure. I could definitely see it going tilt Trump, but I'm slightly more leaning towards thinking it's going to go tilt Biden. But yeah, in Biden's best case scenario, I think that he's going to carry it by a tilt margin. That 5-point deficit is not going to be too hard to overcome with the way things are playing out in 2020, in my opinion. But yeah, I think he could maybe carry Florida by likely in his absolute best case scenario. I'll just say maybe 4% would be his best case in Florida. North Carolina, he could carry by a few points. Ohio, I could see him getting a tilt win here in Ohio. I could see him getting likely margins in these Great Lakes states here, and then Pennsylvania here, you know, Midwest, Rust Belt, these Midwest states of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And Iowa, I think in Biden's best case scenario, it would go tilt Trump. But yeah, looks like we finished off the electoral map here, and you see it's in Biden's best case scenario, in my opinion, he would win 369 electoral votes, a 369 electoral vote victory, and Donald Trump would get 169 electoral votes. But just some interesting things here. Texas, Iowa go tilt for Trump, get down to tilt. Biden gets Ohio, Georgia, Arizona. He gets by multiple points in this scenario. And yeah, quite a substantial margin. But yeah, let's just clear the map now and fill in Donald Trump's best case scenario in my eyes, based off of everything that's happened so far in the campaign, where things currently stand. Election day is just a few days away. So come election day, what do I think is Donald Trump's ceiling, right? You can think of these as the ceilings for both candidates in terms of their results. But yeah, Donald Trump's best case scenario, I see him certainly carrying all these states that I'm filling in right now by safe margins, and he would turn this first district into safe, I think. I'll get to the second district, but yeah, certainly all of these states would be safe, and I think he maybe just crack safe in Mississippi. I think he could only crack likely here in South Carolina. Missouri, I don't think he'll be able to crack 15 points in terms of his margin. Kansas, I think he could definitely carry safe. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else I think he could carry by a safe margin. I'd say Montana, probably. If he won by 20 points in 2016, maybe just Joe Biden isn't quite able to chip away 5 points. I could see that happening. But no, I'm going to have to say likely, actually. I don't see Trump cracking a 15-point win. You know, we have this competitive Senate race, remember, and then just the data we've seen doesn't seem like Trump's going to be able to crack a 15-point win. And I'll fill in Alaska here. Likely, more than 5 is Trump's best case scenario, in my opinion. He couldn't crack a 15-point win in 2016. And I don't think he'd be able to in 2020, even in his ceiling, peak performance, his best case scenario. And just remember, right, I'm sort of going by the standard system that I see. 15% or more is classified as these safe states, the darkest shade. The second darkest shade, likely, that's 5 to 15%. And then you get to lean, that's, you know, between 1.5 and 5, I'd say. And then below 1.5, 1.5, that's tilt. But, yeah, that's sort of the classifications. That's just what I see as the standard system. But, yeah, I think now these states that I'm filling in right now would all go safe for Joe Biden, actually. In Donald Trump's peak performance, I don't think he could get these down to any of these down to likely or anything else, or win any of these. These are going to go safe for Joe Biden. Probably this first district in Maine as well. I think Oregon maybe would still, no matter what, just crack into that 15-point win for Joe Biden, even in Trump's best case scenario. I think he could get New Mexico, though, down to likely. Colorado would probably still be likely, though. Nevada, he could get it down to lean, maybe. Below 5 points. Texas, he would probably carry by likely more than 5. I think he could probably do that, but for now I'll say just below 5%. And Georgia, he could carry by some points. Multiple points, maybe 2%. Virginia, maybe he could get it just below 15% in the margin. And I think he could get lean in North Carolina and tilt in Florida in his best case scenario. Iowa, maybe likely, just above 5. Ohio, probably lean in his best case. I think he could get Minnesota down to maybe lean. Pennsylvania, maybe he could barely win, but I'm going to have to say it would still go, by 2% to Biden. Maybe he could get a tilt win in Arizona. Tilt. And I still see the 2nd district in Nebraska going at least tilt Biden right now. Maine, it would be likely in this type of scenario. And I think he could get a lean win in this 2nd district. New Hampshire would be likely. And we just have Wisconsin and Michigan left. So Wisconsin, I think it would still be just above 5 for Joe Biden. And Michigan, probably just above 5 as well. And maybe I'll revisit Minnesota here, which I think would also remain just above 5%. I'll put Minnesota in lean actually, and Wisconsin in lean. And I'll just put Michigan in lean for now. But yeah, this is pretty much what I see as Donald Trump's peak performance. He gets 259 electoral votes, and Joe Biden gets 279 electoral votes. Maybe we would see him get the win here by eking out victory here in Pennsylvania. Tilt Trump in Pennsylvania. So that reverses it. So it's 279 Trump, 259 Biden. And give him another state maybe. For instance, he barely ekes out Wisconsin. Or he carries another state here. Maybe he barely carries Minnesota. But yeah, pretty much this is what I think Donald Trump's best case scenario is that he can hope for on election night. But yeah, that's pretty much a wrap on this video. These are just sort of my current thoughts, right? Maybe tomorrow I would view things a bit differently, but yeah, pretty much I think that Joe Biden could definitely have a very substantial victory if everything goes well for him on election night. And Donald Trump, if everything really goes well for him, I think he could eke out victory over Joe Biden through a certain pathway. But yeah, definitely let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section about what you think their peak performances could be on election night. I'm interested in hearing your guys' takes on this, and definitely let me know what you agree with and disagree with in the comments. But yeah, if you're into this type of content I make here on this channel about electoral maps, polling data, election analysis, all things elections, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel because my videos are going to be right up your alley if this is something that interests you. But yeah, I say it one last time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, thought it was interesting, and now I'll see you in the next Election Center video. Bye, guys.